have the best life for us, the best life in education, the best life in this world. We are, you know, thinkers and we are doers and we have agency, and we're going to go into that. Feel free to send any questions, right, in the chat. You will see also a question and answer area. If you pose a question, then we can ask one of the panelists to respond. Tell me if you can see the Q&A. If you want to speak, all you have to do is write in the chat. Our assistant here today is I has said hello to Sophia, so you can see her there in the chat. And I have my panelists here. I'm setting them up so that they are able to share their screens and do all that good stuff. This is a new world where we meet online, and some of us have to attend classes online. So some of us are still learning the buttons, and some of you may be new to Zoom. I really don't believe so. But again, let's take a few minutes to get some more people to log in. Our speakers today, Denver Smith, Camryn Calvert, and our educator, Brittany Singh Williams, who is now logged in as our co-host. Can all the panelists say hello on mute so everybody can hear you?
Hi everyone, thanks for tuning in. We're excited to get started.
Excellent, good to see you, Brittany. Anybody else who have next?
Hello, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Camryn Calvert.
Hi, can't wait to hear from you. Who else do we have? Denver, are you here? Everybody say hello, Denver, even though we can't hear you all. Denver, come in, come in. All right, I see some of you there from different schools. Could you type for us, please, in the chat, the school you're representing? It'd be just nice to know, and I want to big you all up there. All right, as we attend to all our housekeeping today. Let me see you in the chat, please. I want to know which schools are representing. Come on. McGrath High, yeah, good to see you. Arden, all right, Suwesi, Judith Quest in the building, talking about student education, well-being, and agency. This is the Education Remix, student voice and agency, maximizing your power. And you have the power to be the change you want in your own life. I have seen other young people do it, and you can too. And it does begin with confidence, young people. So let me talk about what we will do here. I am Emprezz Golding again, for some of you who have just attended. I am the CEO and founder of Talk Up Youth, where I have traveled to all 14 parishes, to many of your high schools, giving young people a voice, giving them the reality or the idea or the vision that they have the power to change their circumstance and their future if we stand together and not be afraid to speak out. And that's why we dub our agency Talk Up Youth, Miss Effie. Talk Up Youth. All right, so you got it. 27 logged in. I don't want anybody to miss this amazing presentation. So again, I am just allowing a few more to register into this Education Remix Student Voice and Agency session. We're going to teach good together, and we're going to lead good together. This is a revolution. And now, like never before, we have a chance to gather in this forum from all parishes to share our ideas and to inspire each and every one of us to maximize our power. Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha. Camryn, what you know about that? I want to say hello to Brittany Peter, Jamaica College, JC in the building. Yes, we see Convent of Mercy Alpha again. Edith Dalton, James High School, St. George's College. Woo! I have been to so many. I've been to all these schools. Have I been to the Great McGrath High? I'm not sure I have. Yeah, I'm on my way. Well, I have you here with me right now. I want to say a special thank you to Dr. Renee Rattree, the founder of Teach Good, Lead Good, for being a part of this, as well as all the other partners. I will mention them later on in the session for joining us. You know, it does take teamwork to make the dream work. I will also let you know that there are many sessions happening right now. Many sessions are activated right now to bring change in education. So there are teachers who are gathering, there are people who are talking about self-care and, you know, teaching like the world is on fire. Rochelle Camryn, Dr. Christopher Edmond, many sessions are going on. But you know, I couldn't be anywhere else but with you because, you know, I miss it, talk up you, Miss that. I know I can't hear all of you, and I will. But this is what we're gonna do. Again, Gina Mulling, St. Catherine High School, welcome to the session. Yes, CMA is saying, go Camryn. That is your superhero, your voice representing you all here today. All right, young people, I think it's about time that we, you know, get ready for this first presenter. I'd like to introduce to this Education REMIX Student Voice and Agency platform, Brittany Singh Williams. She is an education consultant and academic coach with a unique combination, my people, of expertise in the areas of curriculum development and implementation, professional and leadership development, teacher training, and NGO management. That's a mouthful. She is a superhero, NGO, meaning non-governmental organization management. She's passionate and seeing, you know, she's passionate about seeing Caribbean children become future leaders of innovation and economic growth. Miss, you may call her Miss, you may call her Brittany, you may call her Brittany Singh Williams. Now, let me tell you, this amazing woman is a mom as well. So she knows about how to deal with teaching children, her own child to have a voice. But she recently served as an advisor to the Ministry of State in the Ministry of Education, Youth and Information, and curator of the Global Shapers Kingston Hub. So she has done a lot of work she's done a lot of work in schools. She's taught social studies to primary school children in places like Bangkok, Thailand. She's done so much, and she will tell you more. She's also a Microsoft teacher trainer. She holds a Master of Science in Global and International Education. There is so much I can tell you about this dynamic woman, but I'm going to hand the floor to her. And, you know, as I said, there's a Q&A, question and answer section. Feel free to ask questions during the presentation, and we will get to them at the end of the session. Okay? So young people, again, give thanks for life. Give thanks for our voice. Give thanks for this opportunity. Let's get this revolution education remix started. 1, 2, Brittany, over to you.
Hi, everybody. I cannot compete with Emprezz's energy, like at all, but I'll try to be as cool as possible. So I don't even need to talk about anything about who I am. So, because Emprezz did it all. But what I do in my day-to-day life, I have a company called Spark Education, and I do consulting through that, and I work with families and kids to test their children and kind of figure out how best you learn and create academic pathways for how kids learn. And kids, I mean, as young as 5 all the way up to 75, because we're all learners, lifelong learners, right? All right, so today I am going to talk to you a bit about student agency and voice. Let me bring up the screen. I'm still learning how to navigate this thing as fast as possible as well. View slideshow. Great. All right, cool. We're ready. We're good to go. All right, so student agency and voice, or voice and agency. What is that, and what does that actually mean? So I had just put these little definitions here because this is what people have said it is. It's when students take ownership and responsibility for what they learn. And it's when students take an active role in their education rather than having school done for them. Now, most of us would have grown up just being kind of taught what we need to learn for exam and how to do it without actually having ownership in what we're learning. And that's really what student agency means. It refers to learning through activities that are going to be meaningful and relevant to all the learners. and it's driven by students' interests or your classmates' interests, and often initiated with proper guidelines. So we can't have student agency just on a whim. Sorry. It really is about understanding the voice and then planning accordingly. So student agency empowers students to influence their own path for learning. And what does that like really mean? It really means encouraging our kids to take initiative, to really contribute to the why of what we're doing. And it also means that teachers have to be listening to understand what it is that their learners really need. It can't just be about, you know, creating the perfect lesson plan and saying, oh my God, this thing shot, and then just bringing it to the classroom and then it just falls dead. Which I know I've been guilty of before, thinking that my lesson plan was just amazing. And then when I got to the classroom, I realized nobody's buying into it. And then I'm all disappointed and sad. So it really is about taking a step back and understanding what our students need, what our classmates need, for those students who are in here today. And it really, this is something that is a whole way of teaching, thinking, and learning. And it's not just for the teachers, but it's for the students as well. And once we master it, it gives our young people the ability to increase their cognitive abilities. It increases their motivation to learn and ensures that students respond, most importantly, to the activities going on in your classroom. So what does it actually look like in the classroom? So I'm gonna just read that a little story here. So Mrs. Williams, that's me, has a 4th grade class studying about butterflies. Together, they're gonna read some butterfly books and they're gonna care for the different butterfly species. And for their final project of the unit, Mrs. Williams gives her students 3 options to choose from. One of the options I would have given is to create a Google map that details the pathway of the butterfly and takes every year of the butterfly's migration into consideration. The second option I'm going to give a student is to keep an illustrated daily record of the final stages and development of their butterfly and create a scrapbook of the life cycle. And then the third option I'm giving is to produce a blog post that presents evidence about the 2 sides of the debate over environmental protections for the butterfly. Now, the options I've given cover different types of learning styles. It covers different interests. So some students may want to write a blog. Some people are more artistic and want to create the scrapbook. So it really just depends, and it gives children or your students an option to choose how they want to present their work. And this is how we develop student agency and voice in the classroom. Each option gives students the opportunity to demonstrate their mastery in very different ways, but still achieving the final goal of the project. And this is mostly done, student agency and loss, when you're personalizing your classroom and personalizing learning for kids, which is really hard realistically speaking, it's really hard to do when you have a large number of students. However, even in that, you can cater to different learning styles. And we know that we have visual learners, tactile learners, and auditory learners. So it's really good whenever you're thinking about how best we want in our classroom, once a student comes into that room, and students want this too, once they enter that room, that they feel that they can ask questions, that they can be challenged in knowing that it's a safe space to challenge thoughts and to come up with new ideas and to inquire. This is something I think, unfortunately, we've in many cases kind of made people or young people feel scared to ask questions, or that their thoughts are not valid. And that's the first thing. In our classroom, we want to ensure that it is a safe space. We also want to target the idea of that in our work, we're going to struggle. When you don't understand something in your schoolwork, that's okay. It's about figuring out how to navigate the struggle and the hard times, and that's how we build resilience. And we want our young people to feel comfortable doing that and giving great feedback to them in the process of doing it. Don't just block off new ideas, but welcome it. And if it doesn't really go with the curriculum, then ask, well, why did he ask that question? How can we improve on that? It's really about challenging students to think. And also we can create a culture of inquiry by explicitly teaching about collaboration. It's not just about putting kids together and doing group work and hoping for the best, and then you get frustrated when the group didn't work. It's really about teaching kids how to thrive in that collaboration. What does it sound like? What does it feel like? Let's define how your team is going to work together and give roles and responsibilities. And that's a great way of just creating a culture of creativity in your classroom. The next one is emphasize relevance over engagement. And I would have touched on this a little bit when you're creating a lesson plan and you're just really focusing on everybody buying into it and the engagement part. But is it actually relevant to your students? Find out from your students, what do you want to learn and how do you prefer that I teach this to you? I mean, that can activate a whole different kind of lesson plan that you would not have considered, and also save you a lot of time. And it's really important to just tap into what these students have to say about that. The next thing is share learning targets. Everybody needs to know what they're working towards, and that's really important. Young people need the guidance and they need to know what they're working towards, and also great rubrics definitely help when creating learning targets. The next one is facilitate ongoing feedback. We don't just want to give feedback at the end of the project or the end of the assignment, or as a matter of fact, the end of term when you get a report card. We need to be giving ongoing feedback about how the student is doing, how they're working on it, what can be done to improve it. And this is all about, once again, if you don't have that culture of inquiry and a safe space, it's going to be even harder to give feedback because they're going to feel like very threatened. So it goes hand in hand. And finally, allow for reflection and publishing. Our young people are growing up in a world of sharing, virtual sharing. And they need to be able to know how to do that in a safe and productive way. And one way of doing that is doing it with their schoolwork. So encourage them to think about why they did it, how they're going to move forward and improve. I actually have some questions I wrote down that you could ask. What additional questions do you have about the topic? What strengths can you identify in your work, and what weaknesses? What are you most proud of in terms of what you've achieved and with where you are with this assignment? And how could you improve it? And what would you do differently next time? These are really important questions that help young people think about the process of getting through the struggle of their assignment, and also really training them for that skill so it can translate across just academics, but for life. And the publishing part, once again, as I said, our young people are now publishing every kind of information on social media. How can we publish our work? How can we do it in a way that not only teaches them that their voice is of value, but to do it across the world and to share and share across, I'm very getting tongue-tied, share across the world, yes. All right, so that's how we can promote student agency. And when teachers use methods that consider student voice and agency, they recognize that every student has the potential to build skills that they need to thrive. It's all about ensuring that our young people build on their own personal strengths and skills. Okay. Students have the power. And having served, when I was serving in the Ministry of Education, this was something that we really wanted people to understand, that our young people have the power, they have a voice to transform and change the education system, which is why Renee has come up with such an awesome initiative in the first place, for us to really understand that young people have the capacity to not only change the education system, but the entire nation, if we really choose to take their voice seriously. So not only as teachers do we need to harness this skill, but we also need to actually give them the platform to speak when the time comes. When we develop student agency and voice, we give young people the ability to demonstrate increased engagement in education. It gives schools or ministries the opportunity to improve their cultural responsiveness by hearing and supporting and validating our students' needs. It's so important that when we make decisions for our schools, for our communities, that we listen to our young people, and then we will be able to trust them if we know that we've taught them to speak up in a way that is data-driven and research-driven and really not just, you know, about emotion and feeling. And then it gives us systems and communities that offer students a greater range of educational opportunities. Our young people are living education every single day. So why not hear from them what needs to happen and how to do that, which I think we'll do a little bit of that shortly. And finally, we have to consider how to elevate the student voice and harness student leadership in developing and improving our education opportunities. It can't just be that we continue to disregard our young people. And teachers, even in your classroom, how can you, I really want you to come out of this thinking actively, what can I do every day to ensure that my students feel listened to and heard, and how can I modernize or change my approach to really reach them where they are? Developing student voice is not just an add-on, it is an integral part of daily learning and the whole learning ecosystem of education. So in all, that is just kind of what I wanted to share with you today. And I look forward to the questions also, because I want to see what ideas have you come up with to really harness the voice of your students in your classroom. Student voice has the potential to really change education and transform the system. And that's really important as you think about how you move forward.
Excellent presentation there. You still going, Brittany? Yes.
No, that's it.
Amazing presentation there. Thank you so much for that. I really want to give our young people the agency and the voice here. So I'm not going to speak a lot. I'm not going to summarize what you said, because you have some amazing and bright young people who got it. But I also want them to answer the question that you just asked. What ideas do they have? Repeat the question again. What bright ideas do they have as to how to give students more agency or more voice? Is it in the classroom? Okay.
Yes, yeah.
All right. Mm-hmm. So let me just, there is a poll up. I developed a poll for you, Brittany, to see how our young people are feeling, whether or not their educators are doing enough to promote the student agency. So everybody, your vote is anonymous. Just keep voting, keep polling, sorry, so that I can talk about voting. Well, yeah, vote. It's election time. Are your educators doing enough to promote student agency? If not, we are going to go and protest. So log your vote with us. We want to know what's happening in your world. Now, some people aren't too clear of this webinar. Somebody said, excellent presentation from the V&P Arts Department. Excellent, it really was. Josiah John Green wasn't sure, one of our participants, whether or not we muted them. We never mute children, but because it's a webinar, and for bandwidth and space, what we have done is you are not able to speak unless you ask us to speak, and we will promote you to panelists, where you can then turn on your video and have your voice heard. So if you'd like to speak, anybody, just raise your hand if you know where that is. Otherwise, write in the chat, I would like to speak, and you will get a chance to speak. All right, we want to hear from some of you though, as we bring in our next speaker. About that presentation, do you feel that your educators are doing enough to promote student agency, or what ideas can we come up with? Anybody, would you like to speak? Would you like to speak? Anybody? Josiah, I'm going to bring you in because he thought we were muting him. Josiah, are you there?
He's still muted, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, I'm here, miss.
Yes, welcome. Here's your voice. How did you feel about the presentation?
It was really good, miss.
Mm-hmm. Do you believe that your educators are doing enough to give you a voice in the classroom?
I feel so.
Yeah.
At least I think so at my school.
Say that again.
I think so. In terms of my school, miss, I think so.
Okay, which school do you attend?
St. George's College.
Okay, okay. How are they giving you that voice, that agency? What are they doing differently than maybe some other schools?
Probably not different from other schools, miss, but I believe they're doing it in such a way where it's interactive with the students. So they would ask you questions or use apps like Kahoot in order for the students to be engaged in the lesson, use certain videos, ask us certain questions like probably multiple choice.
Okay, all right. Brittany, you want to respond?
Okay.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here. I was muted. But yeah, I think that is a great way to get students involved in learning us. But I also wonder in terms of, you know, the administration when they make decisions for you in terms of the type of activities and, you know, just different things going on in the school. Do they consult with you? Do you feel like your voice is heard as a young person when decisions are made at the school?
Not all the time, but the student council helps us to come up with certain decisions. If we need something to be changed at the lunchroom or something to be changed in the Zoom class, for example, they would help us to enact that change.
Okay.
All right, thank you, Josiah. Thank you so much. All right, we're going to close these polls as I get ready to introduce our next speaker. Brittany, you will be with us, so we're going to have more conversations. All right, here are the results. Are your educators doing enough to promote student agency? All right, well, 49%. Pretty much 50-50. Well, not really. If you're talking money, it's not 50-50. Because you know what? I want my 51% cut, not my 49. But yeah, you're right. There we go, Brittany. Interesting. These schools are doing okay. Well, we're going to talk about some other things in a minute with some of the other participants. Remember, at any time you can speak. You just have to let us know in the chat. I want to talk. Let me talk. Okay, we'll never mute young people. All right, so how are we doing there, Camryn? Are we getting ready for you? Ladies and gentlemen, my youth, my youth, my youth. Can I get a rah for Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha folks in the building? Well, yes, we can't hear everybody else, but we know they're screaming at the top of their lungs wherever they are watching this webinar, seminar, as we remix our education and find that student voice and agency. Camryn Calvert is the deputy head girl of the Convent of Mercy Academy Alpha. She has been foreign captain and assistant student council representative at varying grade levels, vice president of the science club, my people, peer counselor. Okay, other co-curricular involvement includes emerging global leaders of Jamaica, ISCF, math club, dance club. Oh, this woman is, well, this young lady is dynamic. Her focus is to help her alpha sisters to become self-reliant. Oh, yes. And you know, as a Garveyite, that's all that he asks us to be, self-reliant as a people. And so, yeah, she wants to help her sisters become self-reliant and engage in independent learning and to develop leadership skills through the use of online platforms. We are all online. Empower us now, Lady Camryn Calvert. Woo-hoo-hoo.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Camryn Calvert. It's a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. And I believe that maximizing student voice and agency speaks to individuals taking ownership for their own learning and how they learn. And I would like to start off in an unconventional way because this is how I learn doing drama presentations at school. And so when I'm asked to do a presentation, I always choose the drama route instead of speaking for a very long time, or, you know, this is how I would do it. And so I wrote a dub poem to start off my presentation with. Student voice and agency. Educators, please listen to we want to maximize the power that we have, but we need it to help just to understand. Students, you are responsible to know you have a voice. It's not inaudible, but teachers, we need it to assist, create opportunities, or ideas can coexist. In a time as such, motivate us, encourage us. Independent learning is now a must. COVID has caused a shift in our learning, education, I take a U-turn. Change your mindset, maximize your power, be independent and take ownership. You have the power. And to move on, my first point would be, in order to maximize the power of student voice, we should maximize feedback between leadership and students. And students voice their concerns most of the times, but we don't really receive feedback. And so we don't know if we're being heard. And if feedback isn't maximized, students will continue to feel as if they have no voice. And so if we maximize feedback, students will know that during the discussion, what they have said was taken into consideration, even if it doesn't go in the favor of the student. But they will understand that, you know, this is what we did to make this decision, and this is why what you said could not work. And so we even get to understand perspective of people in authority and the administration. Another point is to allow students to take part in the decision-making process. And this is not only at the board level, but also at the basic level of the classroom. So, you allow students to participate in the discussions of how we should, you know, present an assignment if we want to do an essay, or even as simple as a due date. If we allow students to take part in the discussion of a due date and to choose what time they want to hand in the assignment, it helps students to also be accountable for themselves and for their schoolwork. Another point is students need to understand that they have a voice, and it is their responsibility for their voices to be heard, because even, yes, teachers, we need teachers also to encourage us and to create the space for students to voice their concern, but students must understand that it is their responsibility. And who is better to voice your concern than you? Another point is student leaders need to educate themselves on their roles and responsibilities. You know, sometimes we get a leadership position and we don't really understand the power of our leadership position. You know, for example, a student comes to president, yes, they go to the board, they are able to participate in the discussions, but they, you know, they could perform more effectively if they would take initiative to go and educate themselves on their position, and, you know, how to educate themselves on their position, and, you know, to get things done the best way possible. Another pointer is to build confidence for achievement through positive student-teacher relationships. So, you know, sometimes students are shy, and to recognize the strengths, teachers could affirm their students. You know, for example, there were these two teachers at my school, Miss Bolt and Miss Simpson, and Miss Bolt would come for every class and she would write on the board a positive quote about success and achievement, or Miss Simpson, she would always, you know, give us positive names. You're beautiful, you're smart, you're intelligent. And, you know, using these avenues of positive quotes and names can build positive student-teacher relationships where students can trust that their best interest is at heart. And so they will be comfortable. They will be comfortable now to voice their concerns, and to know that teachers will respond in a fair way, you know, without a sense of bias. And so when teachers build confidence in students to achieve their goals, it fosters independent thinking and initiative. And this is where the student agency comes in now, because they're confident now that they can achieve their goals. They will take initiative to study on their own, to move ahead of the class. And so this can be done through positive student-teacher relationship. Another pointer, for student agency. Student voice is important because as beneficiaries, they should be a part of the conversation. And you know, if the goal is to educate students, they have to be a part of the conversation, as they can offer insightful perspectives on, you know, how to go about the class. And to some extent, as students, we know what we want, we know what our strengths are, we know what our weaknesses are. And so being a part of the conversation creates a space where students feel comfortable to voice their concerns and to ultimately maximize student voice. For student agency, giving students a chance to teach themselves and to teach others, and to show their knowledge as they become independent learners. You know, the classroom is a space filled with diversity, and teachers should encourage the diversity within the classroom. You know, students that are socialized differently, with different religious beliefs. You know, there's a lot of difference in the classroom. And so if teachers will allow students to teach themselves, we can learn from other students. And so when students master the skill of, you know, taking on their own learning at the secondary level, it will become a vital skill when they move on to higher education. And so when we go on to university, we will be better able to manage ourselves and to teach ourselves, because we would not be spoon-fed like how we're spoon-fed at the secondary level. So students will take on their own learning, understand that this teacher will not come and give me notes as usual, and I would have to go on the internet, go on the research how to get information, and, you know, in turn would maximize student agency, as students are able to teach themselves now and take ownership of their own learning. And my last point is that students need resources. So after deep learning really takes place, where students, they can acknowledge where they are and where they want to be and how they fill that gap in between. And even if students may have the drive, they're motivated, they're focused enough to take on their own learning, if they don't have these resources, they will not be able to, you know, take on their own learning and to be ahead of the class. And so resources are important for students to maximize student agency. Thank you.
What a great presentation. Talk up, Camryn. Yes, man, you made important points there. And I see some of your sisters from Alpha are here now, and I'm sure they may want to respond to some of the things that you said. You know, I have to ask you a question, however. Do you think most teachers in schools, and from your peers, I'd love to hear from Alpha students, are teachers inspiring you and motivating you to give you that confidence and boost to open up and say what's on your mind in the classroom? Is this across all schools, or is this something particular to you, Camryn, and your sisters at Alpha?
For my school has always given us the opportunity to know that we can achieve our goals, and they have always been the school has always been very motivating. And yes, they do make us feel good about learning. And I remember when I was in first form, for the first week of school, they had this big plan. I remember Miss Mutijo, our coordinator, big up yourself, Miss Mutijo, she initiated us doing a time capsule and putting our goals and what we want to achieve inside it. We haven't gone for it as yet, but they're still there. And, you know, for us to put our goals inside it and to try to achieve them, I would say that is a way where teachers are allowing us to be motivated and for us to wanting to achieve our goals.
Excellent. All right, any other young ladies and young men, anybody want to ask any questions of Camryn? We're gonna have more of a talk session at the end after our presenters have completed their session. Anybody else? I'd like to take a moment to welcome to the platform Dr. Renee Rattry. Please, if you have questions, put them in the Q&A, put them in the chat, or just come on and say, I want to talk, I want to speak. and we will give you the platform. We will never mute you as a student. This is your agency time, your voice, all right? Dr. Renee Rattray, the founder of Teach Good, Lead Good, is all over the place in a million sessions as she is trying to turn education up to a higher level. We want you to come in and say hello, welcome. What's been going on? Thank you for putting on this platform.
Oh my gosh, Empress, this is so exciting. So exciting, right? Okay, so I think this is going to be my favorite session because it has the real people in it, the people who we're about. And I'm so excited. I'm just listening to the insight and wisdom that's coming from our young people. And this is exactly why we're here for this time. It's all about them, right? And Camryn, powerful stuff. I just want to learn. I just want to learn.
Renee, just quickly tell us some of the other sessions that are happening across the world right now, globally, with your Teach Good, Lead Good. There are other conferences happening now, correct?
Oh, you mean other conferences for young people, or with Teach Good, Lead Good?
Or just education on a whole, you know, what are the teachers saying in the other sessions? And
oh, okay, we've been having a really great time in some of the other sessions, talking about how we can best teach our students online and do what we're being asked to do in terms of being engaging and relating to students in a practical way, and also in inspiring them, right? Because it really doesn't make sense just sitting in front of students and with this talk, and students have long been in the digital age, in the digital space. Yeah. And so you guys have been dragging us there, and I'm sorry we've taken a little bit of time, but you have to be patient. One of the things we've been telling teachers is that they have to be open to learning from you, and you from them. We have to do this together because we all are learning, and the sooner we have classrooms where we're all doing it together, and the teacher's desk isn't beyond us, but the teacher's desk is right in the middle, and we're all collaborating. Oh my gosh, I think we can set the world on fire because we'll just value what each person brings. So yeah, we've been spending a lot of time talking about how we can be different as teachers and parents as well, because we've had a number of parents here. So it's a collaborative effort, I think, going forward. Students have to advocate and push for the kind of learning they want as well. Don't settle for foolishness and bad teaching. No, no, no. You must take responsibility for your learning.
That's what Camryn spoke to. She said the students have a responsibility. And you said a very important word there, advocacy. Absolutely. What students don't understand, or maybe this group understands from what I'm hearing from Camryn, that it takes teamwork to make the dream work. If you want to change, we have to stand together. It's that collective effort to bring the changes that you want. From the panelists right now, tell me, I mean, online learning was crazy last term. I have young ones. Did any of you sit back and laugh at your teachers saying, oh my God, they have no idea how to use this platform? How many of you enjoyed watching some of your teachers struggle? And now you have an opportunity to teach them. You could even charge them, young people. I said, Miss, before we have to go back there again, let me charge you for a session, 2,000 an hour. I'm just saying. Anyone want to share about how online was and how you had to teach your teachers how to navigate the space? Anybody? You can just unmute. Camryn? No?
For me, the online learning platforms, yes, I had some teachers that I would have to help around, like my home studies teacher, but some of the young teachers understood how to, maneuver around the platforms. It was sometimes we enjoyed it because you don't really want to go in on a session, but sometimes you feel a little frustrated and anxious because time is coming down, you're uncertain about exams, you don't know what's going to happen, and it's just not working, and so you get a little anxious. But I think the teachers did a very good job in using these platforms to really help us, and to they even motivated us during this time to keep doing the work, keep doing this, try and not be distracted, because when I get examination, it's not, you would not have an excuse as to why, because and so it was a very good experience, and I hope that for the upcoming school year it will get better.
All right, I hear you call out one of your teachers. I hope she's not here listening. Okay, listen now. This is the first time that I have ever seen young people so quiet. What is going on with the alpha ladies, Camryn? We keep on muting them and they keep muting themselves. Why are they not talking? I know. Is it because they're not dressed up and they don't want to show their face? Why are they so quiet, hiding behind this online platform? Hey, Camryn, why are they so quiet?
I don't know, you know.
You know,
Some of the emerging global leaders are on this seminar, so I don't understand why I'm not hearing their voice.
I can tell you why. Normally when I go into a school, you have like 100 young people. Them don't dress up and do them hair and in their uniform, right? And we're all in this physical space together. So we're navigating different waters here. I mean, if I was there next to them, you know, I would have grabbed them and said, come on, talk, but I can't reach them through the screen. So I'm encouraging you all at the end of this next presentation, please come in. You don't have to show your face, but please unmute so we can hear your voice in this conversation. There are a lot of things to discuss if we're going to make Jamaica a better place, and if we're going to make education right for you. You have to do the P word. What's the big P word, people? My favorite P word when I'm with young people. Participate. All right, that's my favorite P word. Now, young people, we go into our next presentation. They're just going to speak and share their voices whenever, well, this is our next presenter, and then you will have a voice. Denver Smith is one of the well-rounded student leaders in Jamaica, hailing from the rural areas of Clarendon. Anybody from Clarendon in here? Let me see you. Let me see you. He has recently completed his final year of his associate degree in the sixth form program at Clarendon College. If you are from Clarendon College, we want to see you. At the age of 19, yeah, that's how old he is at this moment. He currently serves as the national president of the National Secondary Students Council Jamaica. You all know it as the NSCJA. And he's a youth parliamentarian, National Youth Parliament of Jamaica. And I really want to hear about the power they have to bring change sitting in that seat. Deputy Youth Mayor of Maypen, Clarendon. Are so much things gonna do at 19? Public Relations Officer for the Clarendon Adventist Youth Federation and other leadership positions within his school and the wider community. Denver aims to become a communications specialist, news anchor, and marketing director. Denver, you can come work with me, man. Therefore, he plans to study a Bachelor of Arts degree in Communication Studies at the NCU, Northern Caribbean University, where he's now accepted as a 2020 freshman. Woo! Congratulations. I know I'm going to work alongside you one day. We are in the same field, brother. All right, Denver believes that greatness is achievable and pledges to achieve his greatness by contributing to Jamaica's development. I feel so honored to be in his company. You turned on your camera, Denver. You tricked me. First, he wasn't going to turn on his camera. Denver, you can't be a news anchor in communications if we can't see your handsome face. Denver, we throw it to you right now. We welcome you to this Education Remix Student Agency session. Go ahead.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're hearing me. All right, lovely. Everyone hearing me?
You could talk a little louder if possible.
Is that better now? Yeah. All right. So there are a few things I just want to say first. I want to share, if you could allow me to share my screen for a moment. All right.
Give us a second. We're going to allow you to share your screen. I just have to make a shift. I'm coming to you. All right. You now have the power, my brother, to share your screen.
All right. Give me a moment.
No problem. Again, while he is preparing, I will be sending some questions out. We're polling just to see how you all feel about different things. It will pop up during the session. Feel free to just answer. And so we know how you're feeling and what's going on in your world. Denver, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready. So I hope everyone is seeing this quote by Steve Jobs. Everybody sees this quote? Yeah. All right, it says innovation is the ability to see change as an opportunity, not a threat. And I really wanted to start out this conversation like this because in going to the modern classroom or seeing some changes in the classroom, we must first see innovation as a opportunities. Educators must first see innovation as an opportunity, not a threat. And I just want to see right there that my first point is about the past and the present classroom. But just before I get into that, as Camryn mentioned some very important points in her presentation. She spoke about student leaders and their responsibility. And I just really want to, add something to that. She said that a lot of student leaders have the power and stuff like that, but they are unable to, or they don't take a minute or take a moment to pause and really educate themselves on their responsibilities and stuff like that, which is very true, and I really agree with that. Because if more for student leaders were able to step back and do that, they would have been more able to advocate for these changes within the classroom and seeing the importance of it. And rather than advocating for some things that are not really that important, but things that are really for their education. And I just really like that point. My presentation is gonna be from a different perspective. Seeing that I'm from a rural areas, and once I like that, there are some struggles that teachers really face in the rural areas, and it has caused innovation to be somewhat a bit slow. And I'm just here with some ways or some points or some things that they can use to get in the fast pace of the innovation in the learning and stuff like that. So first issue in the rural areas, we see that there's a lack of resources. A lot of resources are not in the rural areas. The rural schools, they're not able to really provide these things that are needed for students to really learn at a different level or really maximize their potential. And we look at there's a lot of teachers or older teachers in these rural schools, and it really brings me down to my first point, where it speaks to the past and the present classroom. So as you can see on the screen, are you guys hearing me? Just a little feedback. Are you guys hearing me?
Oh, we're hearing you, Denver. I would like you to try and share your screen again because we're not seeing it. I'm not sure why, but just share again.
Give me a minute.
You did share screen at the bottom. And then when you find it, you would press the blue share.
Give me a minute.
Okay, because you have the ability to. Sorry, everybody, we can hear you loud and clear. It's just the sharing of the screen that's giving us a challenge. All right, take your time. Everybody grab a glass of water.
So are you able to see my screen right now?
I'm having a challenge. No, I'm not sure. And I'm not sure how to assist you from here. Give us a second, everybody. Okay, now it's starting to share. We're getting there now.
All right, so you're able to see the picture on the screen, right? Where there's a difference between the past classroom and the current classroom. Is everyone seeing that? All right, you see that there's in the major difference, as in physically, we're going to analyze it physically. You see where students are still in a somewhat like a row, and the teacher is up there, and there's a board, but the thing there's the chalkboard in comparison to the whiteboard and the marker. That's the physical difference between these things. And I just want to see that I know that they're not saying that this structure is not really is bad for learning, but I believe it suits a set of different types of students. And I really want to get into the different the types of learning and compared to the methods of teaching by teachers. And I can say that teachers tend to want students to adapt to their type of teaching rather than seeing the different styles of how students learn. That is a big difference, a big problem, right, we're having. Because they have some students, they're very visual. There's some students, they're very, tactile, they love to touch and stuff like that. And sometimes these type of classrooms, these types of settings don't really foster the development of some of these students. Speaking for me personally, I learn in whatever environment. I'm just flexible like that, and I tend I I tend to maximize, I think to take a deeper interest in my learning. So I don't care about the environment, but not all students are like me. Some students tend to really develop in a different environment. So I really want to assess that and see where we are going wrong in educating our students. Uh, to really expound on this, I want to give an example where at school, where this teacher, like, she would normally come to class, same classroom setting as as the past, sitting, come with her book in her hand, sitting around her table, and just reading and telling us to write. All right. Back then, a lot of students, this was a norm for persons to learn and stuff like that. But in this new age, especially when you're doing subjects that are really exciting, a subject that students really want to know more about, I don't believe that's the best way to present something to a student. I don't believe it's the best way. And from that personal, I'm a student like this. I have a long attention span, but I also have a short attention span at the same time. It depends on your delivery of the lesson that I can really say that I have learned something. So when I'm in that class specifically, in the first 30 minutes, I pretend as though I listen, but as I see that there's no change in the delivery of the lesson, I tend to just get laid back, and maybe a couple seconds, a couple minutes from then I just fall asleep. And while knowing that it's a subject that I can easily read and pass and stuff like that, I don't really pay much attention to it. So I want teachers to really move away from that type of teaching. And I've seen in other schools where teachers have really taken the initiative using projectors, going outside in classroom, outside of the classroom and stuff like that. But I need to see it on a larger scale where a lot of teachers are engaged in that type of learning in this new age, because it's very important. And especially giving students the outer school experience in a specific area, like you're doing a biology or some subject of biology, and I see where some teachers tend to not take the student to like a wildlife place or something like that to really spark their interest in the subject. Because when I was doing biology, and I really wanted that hands-on experience in learning, just seeing things and stuff like that. So I really want teachers to really move away from the traditional way of presenting the message to a more modern way. And there are many ways they can do so, many ways. And at the end of a presentation, I believe we can, our students, a lot of students here who could really tell us how they would want to learn. Because I don't want to use my style of learning to really judge their styles. So it's best to get their way of how they want something to be delivered to them. And it brings me to my next point on student suggestion. All right, so student suggestions are really, it's an issue where, it's a real big issue, I should say, because it stems, because at the student council level, we're seeing that there's a big challenge in the administration, or other stakeholders really taking the student council serious, and being the voice of the students. It really speaks to how they would actually look on other students who are not in leadership position. So I think really addressing that will really see some difference in them even considering the suggestion of students without a position. So that I really want us to really understand that, because the council over years have been struggling to really get a seat at the table, despite we are automatically have a seat, but we are still struggling to get a seat. And I know that, and other students have seen this, and them seeing that they won't be able to speak up about certain things. And as you read to student suggestion, I kind of really take that from my experience, from Ruben's your experience, where, and I must say that I like new I like new teachers somewhat because they tend to not say that you're not older teachers who I really get pumped up when I'm in their class and ready to learn and stuff, but I tend to like the younger teachers. They tend to come with newer younger teachers tend to come with a different way of presenting the message. And I can really say this, like I was I did food health and nutrition rather at the Cape level, and at the Cape level, it's where it really gets a bit difficult and more. Work is a little bit harder, but it's students tend to get a bit laid back when you get to that level because it's just a 2-year program. I'm just doing the four or five subjects or some even doing 3. I don't need to put up my energy, but it's a time where teachers need to be more, what should I say now, more flexible in how they teach. So I can really speak from experience with my foods teacher where she came to class and she was sitting there and giving this, reading from a book and writing and stuff. And then a few classes after, a lot of students stopped coming because we can always get the notes from the textbook and stuff like that. It's biggie. She's just gonna read and stuff like that. And when there's practical, we just show up and stuff and ensure that we follow the steps in the methods are being given to prepare the food and stuff like that. But when I sat there, I was like, no, there are other ways that Miss can really get us engaged in learning or to really get more interested in food and nutrition, because being that it's a practical subject, there's a lot of things that can be done in this. So when I spoke to her, I said, Miss, that over the years we haven't seen much difference in how teachers really present the food and nutrition curriculum to students. And I was saying that, Miss, there could be a different way, because look at this, we're learning about sauces, Miss, and we haven't even a class where you come and you show us how to actually make a sauce. We only learn that when we're actually going to do it ourselves and for external assessment. And I know that some schools might have adopted this, but I'm going to express right now. But my school's a bit behind in this. Can I say that from a rural perspective, it's very different. And she thought about it and stuff, and she made an effort, and she came to class. She did her display table. She showed us step by step how to make the thing, and I was really interested because I wanted to know more of how to do this. And she did not just apply to our class, she applied it to her third form classes and other classes she had, and even our C-Sec students really saw a difference in her delivery of the lesson. And I can say more students are really interested in learning food and nutrition based on, I think, is my suggestion that I gave her, but that students are able to learn from this. So I see that student suggestion is really important in their learning, and teachers should take this very, very serious. They should see that we're not just there just to take in all the information and regurgitate, but to really apply it in a practical way, and to use it and be a part of the learning process. So these are my 3 points, and just 2 sort of sub points I just want to touch on. It's really resources I was talking about in the rural areas, where teachers are not really they really have the resources to really foster this new innovation that would have been available in the urban areas and stuff like that. But there's still other ways that they can do it. The rural students, I think they learn differently. They're motivated differently. So there are a lot of things that they can do. And I don't really want to give my ideas right now, but I just want to hear from the students who are able to give these teachers this idea. And the last thing I want to mention is the fact that administration should take a greater responsibility to incorporate technology into learning, because we're in a technology era. Students are so interested, fascinated by the different devices, and I know lots of students in rural areas might not, well, a good amount of them might not have these devices, but they know a lot about them and they're able to use them and stuff. But if we are able to, if they're able to provide these resources I was talking about, students will be able to learn differently and be able to be more engaged in the learning process and stuff like that. And administration should be kind of, I don't know, review some of their rules and stuff that really speaks to technology and stuff like that, because I know a lot of schools that, you know, they still don't accept students bringing their devices to school and stuff like that. I know a lot of schools like that, and I think they need to look at that and see how they can change these things and let it become a learning become exciting, and, you know, incorporating more technology and stuff like that into it, because it really will see you really will see a difference in how students are learning and stuff, and how students are developing to be the new people of tomorrow, and creating more innovation and stuff. And back to my last quote, we should see innovation rather as an opportunity, not a threat. And this is one of the things that we need to see innovation as. Innovation is not a bad thing. We should always see it as a way to do things better. We should always see ourselves trying to take a different approach at doing everything in everything we do, different approach in everything we do, because you never might know, it might be done better by the way that you are presented and stuff. So this is basically my 3 points that really stimulated some interest and stuff like that. So thank you for having me.
Wow, thank you, Denver. But looking at those two classrooms, nothing has changed. And this is something that we have to look at. These classrooms look nearly exactly the same. Denver, I'm going to ask you now to answer some of these questions. Can you see some of the questions in the Q&A?
Let me check. Yeah. What are some of the challenges or insecurities that students face to sharing their voice, especially in an online space? Oh yes, this is a very this is something that is really affecting a lot of students, because number one, as I was saying, that the resources is a problem. A lot of students don't have the resources to really engage in the online space and stuff like that. You know, you look at the cell services nowadays, the telecommunication services. They're not strong enough to really manage that much students getting on in online learning and stuff like that. And it's really affecting other students, because I can really go back to the time that was having the session in July where we had to go back to school, regional school, and some teachers were still stuck doing online classes and stuff. And even in the quarantine time when everyone had to stay home, schools closed, like I was having a challenge getting on my platforms to get my work done and stuff like that. I had to be calling my friends and saying, you know, what is supposed to be done. I had to be, you know, buying at least a whole lot of data. I think I spent about $5,000 on data, because I didn't have Wi-Fi and stuff, like 5,000 on data and stuff like that per month to really get things done on these things. And I know that a lot of students don't have this money. I don't, and I had to be, you know, trying to find it somehow, and, you know, begging mommy and saying, well, is this really important? So that's one of the major challenge that students have in getting in learning their voices expressed over these online spaces. Next question. I hope that I've answered that correctly, or if I could have more. Next question. So, do you think the structure of the school works against student voice? It is too hierarchical. Well, I do believe this. I do believe this sometimes. I do believe this. I know that some schools really take the initiative to incorporate and the student voice, but sometimes the structure is too difficult. The channels that students have to go through before they even heard is a bit stressing at times. And even from a council perspective, I can really say that it takes a lot of work to really get us, you know, on the table, and us speaking, and us being heard. So even with a student without any position would find it really hard to get these things, because the hierarchy is so hard to climb up. The hierarchy is so, and where sometimes the students are seen as below, as and on the bottom level of hierarchy, which it should not be like that. We should supposed to be above, because without us there is no school. We are the reason why schools are there. Teachers, administration, teachers should see us as very important in everything they do, because without us there's no school, and they really need to listen to us and not just take us as some token, or some kids running off their mouth, because we are the future and need to treat us like as such and listen to us. I think I'm gonna read. Oh, this is the questions.
We answered all those. Camryn is also here. So, and anybody else that is here, feel free to ask the questions or also respond. We only have a few minutes left, however, because there is another session of the education remix happening at 3:30. Teachers, it would be a good one for you, so we're inviting you to go there for 3:30 as well. All right, so any more questions there that we want to answer? Camryn?
There's quite a
Yes,
few.
I want to answer, what are some online student initiatives that can be taken online by students and led by students? Well, one of the things that I was planning for the upcoming school year was to have virtual town halls led by students, so other student leaders from different grades, you know, for students to voice their concerns without the presence of a teacher, where, because sometimes students are not comfortable, as I've mentioned before. And so it would be a good thing for students to voice their concerns to other student leaders, for student leaders, you know, to take it to administrative to a higher level, and for something to be done about their concerns and issues.
All right. Denver, where are we now? Next question.
It says that next question. Do you think that your peers grab those initiatives to show that they can do, that they
They
can
have a can-do
do
spirit.
spirit? Yeah.
Spirit. Yeah, do you think, what about your peers? Now, you all are a little different. You're exceptional. And I know you because I've met many of you who are doing very well in society right now. And I met you at high school, and you're the same makeup, yeah, of some of the great young people I see now. But there's another set of young people, they're shy, they're not getting into the initiatives, they feel that they can't, they don't lack confidence. What are you seeing with your peers? Are they willing to grab those initiatives to show their can-do spirit?
Well, not a lot of them are. That's the reality of. Not a lot of them are really grabbing these initiatives. They are so afraid when it comes on to getting things done, or being involved positive. That's the problem we are having, and they see it as, you know, what am I getting out of this? That's always attitude they bring towards these things. What am I getting out of this? And it's really causing the first student persons or to leadership or structures to really not really take students seriously, because they're saying, oh, they just want to, you know, this to put on their resume and stuff like that, and they're not taking it very seriously and stuff. And the attitude of students is, you know, not all students, but most of them are not really for really getting involved and showing that they actually can do the work and stuff. They don't want the extra stress because, oh, my friend them do this and my want to do that too, and, you know, taking up this responsibility going when cause me to, you know, have all this time, making all that time, and, you know, being a part of the, you know, the crew and stuff. It's a whole lot of stuff, different angles you can really look at that. But there are actual students who have the can-do spirit. It's in a minority, but there are students there with the can-do spirit. And when we find such students, I'm appealing to teachers and administration, when we find those students, we should ensure that we empower them to continue, you know, speaking up, continue keeping them active, and rather than us trying to keep the spirit and, you know, say that they should shut up and stuff like that, and, you know, because you're just a student and stuff, you know, we should really empower them. And that's what administration sometimes fail, and teachers fail to do.
Mm-hmm. All right, we have to keep it moving. I mean, I have so many questions I want to ask you all, but we don't have that much time. So the next one, which one, where are we? Amir? If physical school does not resume, what is the best for online learning? What can both teachers and students do to make it run smoothly? Now, before I ask any of you to answer, and even Brittany, when you were speaking, Denver, I had this vision. And when you talk about resources, I think, you know, our situation can drive us to be innovative in a way where the resources are probably right there and it may not need money. I also want to know what's the student voice and contribution to our society, so that we never have to look for resources. We can reclaim the greatness and wealth that comes from our people, so we no longer have people saying, I can't afford this, and having this inequality in education. I think we have to have a big vision as students, and I would love to hear how you are all going to do that. But when you talk about online learning and innovation, I was saying to myself, why does it have to be online? I'm thinking to myself, okay, we want to be physically distant, right? Imagine if we were to create a bunch of bubbles and sit in a big park You know what I mean, I'm saying, why can't we, if your parents have a car, you drive and you have the big sound system now play right now, beer speaker, sit down and I get dust. Put on the big speaker them in the community and run the education program. Teacher one, teacher two. You understand what I'm saying? Like, why does it just have to be online when we know that many people can't access online? So I think your ideas, Amir, Denver, Maria, everybody here, Sophia, it is about you all saying, imagine if what do we do for those who can't access online, don't have the money for 5,000 data, we can't go to the school because the Ministry of Education says we mustn't go to that building. How do we do it differently? What ideas can you all come up with? Off the chain, man. Come on. Something new. What can we do? And this is where we have to start thinking then. Camryn. Yes? But I say if speaker box I get dust, run them in the community with a lesson them and drop 2 music in there like what Teach Good Lead Good is trying to do with music and education. You understand? Get the DJ then to start sing some positive musical lessons like what we're seeing with the education remix using dancehall and hip hop in education. We can do it. And that's not going to take any money. Because all the way are artists already. You know what I mean? That don't take no money. But Amir, the best, I don't know.
I think you answered Amir's question, Empress.
Right, so we've answered that one. What are some of the practical things that you think students can do to really show that they want to take up their rightful role in the school community? Practical things. Well, first thing I would add is taco. Don't be quiet.
Yeah, I would say, Empress, to actually participate in school clubs and initiatives. I remember actually when I started getting involved in the government and all the work of the NSSC and stuff. I remember thinking to myself, when I was in high school, I was not interested in anything like that. Like, I just thought, you know, I'm too cool for this. And it's funny, like, how do we make entities like the NSSC be cool? How do we make young people want to actually have a voice and see that leadership is of importance and value? And I think that is how we even get young people to start playing their rightful role in community, is making it sexy, for lack of better terms, making leadership cool. And I think that's where we have to start. And that starts with the young people who are already involved.
Yeah, very true. All right, we have to keep moving because my boss has told me that I'm usually the boss, you know, but today I'm not the boss. Dr. Renee actually has told me that I have up until 3:30. Well, she told me 3:10, but it's your voice, so I'm not going to stop until you want me to stop because this is about you. Next question. What's the next one? How can student counselors encourage or correction? How can student counselors build trust among their peers so that they can feel comfortable voicing their concerns?
Oh yeah, that's a very good question, because one of the problems that a lot of student councils are, if I may answer, you hear, yeah, one of the problems that student councils are the presidents are really facing right now is the students are not really having your back, despite they, you know, most of them vote for you and say, oh yes, we're confident you're gonna do this. Sometimes when it really gets down to it really gets down to the action part of it, they back out and say, oh, I can't do this, we have other stuff to do and stuff like that. They keep backing out. So students need to, I don't know, you need to be more, what should I say?
Active, involved.
Yes, and do these things that ensure that despite even without their support, you're gonna provide results and stuff, like still pushing on. And you need to have that little team that says, you can do this, or Camryn, you can do this, Denver, you can do this and stuff. You have that little team, because a lot of times it's people who vote for you and in these positions are not really, for you, not really having your back despite you're advocating for them and stuff like that. So that's one of the big challenges. So what you need to do is to ensure that you have your team, have your support group, and also keep working, because at the end of the day, they might
Denver's having a challenge here. We're gonna keep going. Oh, I love this one. This next question. Why is
Realize that
oh,
No, go ahead.
noise somewhere? I'm not sure. I'm gonna ask whoever that is just to mute for a second. Why this one is coming from an anonymous attendee? Why is it that homework is such a big part of every school when it is only making it harder to actually learn because we are at school for at least 5 to 6 hours a day, engaging in a lot of work, and then there comes homework adding additional stress, making you more tired and don't really have the energy to interact in school. This one I throw to maybe Brittany to start, because guess what? I'm not into homework, and there are countries that are who don't even play with homework, especially at a certain age. We're giving children homework at 2 years old and 3 years old in preschool. I mean, is it really helping them to learn, Brittany?
Honestly, I'm not a fan of homework either. And there is actually a science to how homework should be given. Unfortunately, many people or teachers are giving homework without really considering a lot of different things. And if we look at our cultural context, a lot of the time homework is given because, you know, it's part of families coming together and spending time together to do something, especially for the younger children. But in our cultural context, unfortunately, we have a lot of breakdown in family life. So that is also causing a lot of stress for parents, and it's very unnecessary. Then we have the idea of, are projects actually beneficial to the learning that is happening, or is it just busy work? I, for one, even in my adult life, do not like busy work. So I get very angry. So I can understand when young people would get frustrated. So honestly, it comes back to, why is this teacher giving an assignment? And that developing of student agency, asking students, do you feel like this actually connects to what you're learning right now? How can we improve and create this project together? Instead of just giving an assignment that is just very arbitrary and you're giving homework for homework's sake, because in many cases, that's exactly what it feels like. So why is homework such a big part of it? It is important, but it also does require that back end part of, is this actually of relevance right now in this season for this particular subcultural group of children that I'm dealing with right now?
Very, very, very interesting response. You know, when we talk about education, Denver, you set a tone there. And if I had 4 hours, we need a session where we talk about a colonized education. A song came to my mind. I was like, emancipate yourself from the slavery classroom. None but ourselves can free our schools. I mean, a lot of things we do. Have we ever asked ourselves why we do it? As students, you sit and say, why is it this way? Why do I feel this way in the classroom? When you talk about classrooms, even education and boys, Denver, come in, because I have had so many young men say to me, the classroom is feminine. But you know, just a few hundred years ago, a few years ago, the classroom was, they didn't want to educate the black boy. The black man was not to be educated. And these classrooms were designed for the girls in this Jamaica here, how it was set up. Now, I don't know, because I'm a girl, why do boys say that? Have you ever heard that? That the education system is not masculine, it's not for boys, it's a feminine system. I've always wanted somebody to tell me nothing go so or something go so. I'm trying to work it out.
Well, there's a kind of a disparity between that, as in let me see, I want to be careful.
You want me? Okay, while you're being careful, let me make a public announcement. While you gather your thoughts. Remember, you're in media now, you know, you have to careful yourself on the TV. All right, my people, my teachers, there is another session happening now. I am willing to sit with you all for another few minutes for those who want to stay and finish answering some of these questions, especially the young people. Teachers, the next session is called Get Techie With It session. So some of you students may want to jump into that too. Teachers, it's especially for you, so jump over to that session. I want to thank you for being a part of this. We could go on and on and on, but continue to, as our speakers have mentioned, give the students motivation, you know, affirmation, so that they will feel more empowered to speak and share with you in that space. And as Dr. Renee actually mentioned, it's all of us together. And we all don't know everything. So if we're going to have a vision of where we want to be, not just in the classroom, but in the classroom for a better society and a better world, then we need to come together, because whatever affects our students in society affects our teachers in society. And if we want economic growth and social justice in this country, then we have to revisit the way we educate and the way we learn, so it is effective and successful for all. Teachers, thank you. Denver is being careful and getting his thoughts together. We have a few more minutes here. We hope to at least go through all the questions. Brittany Singh has to go, so we want to thank her for being with us and letting us know that, you know, it is about us participating in our education. That's true agency, when you can have a voice and take an active role in your education. Brittany, thank you so much for setting the tone, because sometimes you say, what is student agency? And people say, oh, you mean, oh, what that mean? So thank you for defining it for us.
Thank you so much for having me. And it was great being on the panel with Denver and Camryn. You guys are both super empowering, at least even for me. And I just want to acknowledge you and tell you to just keep going, keep pushing, because the world is ready for you.
Likewise, Brittany.
Yes, thank you. Brittany Singh Williams, founder of Spark Education Services, Igniting Future Leaders. Thanks for being in this Teach Good, Lead Good, joining the revolution for education, REMIX, student agency, and voice. Denver, have you got your thoughts together?
Yes, somewhat, yes. Firstly, we need to analyze how boys are grown in this age, or how they are grown. You know, a lot of males tend to go, you know, always out on the road, you know, playing football and stuff, and, you know, being very active and stuff like that. And coming to school, they have to take a different approach, a calm approach, you know, not being all this, not you know, observing all these and this. So it really kind of puts a constrict on them somewhat in comparison to the females, which you're normally home, you know, doing the cleaning, you know, still in the house and stuff, lying down watching TV and stuff like that. It's, you know, there's some difference in this. Not all, it doesn't apply across the board. Lots of males are always home and stuff, and some females are more outgoing and stuff. So but the majority though are of this, you know, this type of grow or they have a more practical, hands-on learning to hands-on approach to anything. They want it to be practical. They want to apply themselves. And sometimes are really going back to what the comparison between the classroom then and now. You see where it's still the building is like a little cell somewhat. I would say like a little cell, because you're there and you're boxed these four corner walls and stuff, and in a row and stuff, you know, sit quiet and, you know, raise your hand when you're getting you want to ask a question. So it really constricts them somewhat. So I was saying that change in environment is going to be really important in reaching the boys and trying to incorporate stuff that are really practical, because they're some most boys are practical. They want to get hands-on in comparison to the girls. That's what I'd have to say.
All right, but you know, food for thought. We have to look at our institutions, look at what's happening in our society, culturally, the social issues that we face. Has education and the classroom been able to deal with those things? That's a real question we have to ask. And if not, how do we change education? Math and science, is that enough in the classroom?
Not necessarily. And I have a problem where it comes on to persons just putting an emphasis on math and science. I think that the skill subjects are very important, and a lot of traditional high schools do not have these things. And a lot of boys would really see their potential if you have most of these skill subjects being presented and stuff like that. You really see their potential really coming out and stuff like that if you have and high schools having skill subjects as a part of their curriculum and stuff like that. It will really reach many of these boys.
Good.
And, you know,
Yeah, I hear you. We have to keep it moving, unfortunately. I wish I could stay all day with you guys. But one problem, anonymous attendee has mentioned in the Q&A, one problem with some teachers is the olden days phrase that students should be seen and not heard.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
we had something with NSSC. We had some campaign on that. Turn up the advocacy, talk up. We need to be seen and stuff like that. We remove that whole mental set that students are should to be seen and not heard, and that's a problem we are having with as it relates to take student administration and teachers taking our suggestions, because you're just supposed to be a sit and just listen to what I have to say and regurgitate it. That's the problem, and we need to change that. That needs to be changed. That's a big problem, and it's really affecting across the board in leadership, and overall it's affecting everything.
Right. This next question, Camryn as well. Anybody else on the panel? I see, I'm so sorry. Tala J, you're here. You have your hand up. My apologies. Yes, Tala J. Tala J, you wanted to add your voice?
Everyone. Yes, this is Tala J. Mendez, and I'm from Alpha Academy. Camryn mentioned the EJLJ curve, and I could not stay quiet. I just wanted to add that sometimes I believe that students' advocacy is allowed in many schools, but sometimes our teachers, their personal feelings get in the way, and they forget the point that it takes a lot of confidence and a lot of bravery to come out and to bring out a point or a problem or a situation that we have been having a problem with. And sometimes they forget the point, and they forget the reason why we come out and say what we say, and sometimes their personal feelings get in the way. So that is a part of the problem, I think.
Yeah, thanks for sharing. I find in society, and I move in many circles, from the prisons to the children's homes to the highest agencies of leadership and corporate companies. And I see everywhere that there's something about our people. We get very offended easily. And I think it's a life skill to understand, emotional intelligence. That should be something that's taught. And the teachers need that lesson, I believe, as well. We all do, how to manage with people. But in my workspace, and I think we can adopt this attitude to life. I have to say, when I'm doing something, I always tell people, it's not about me and how I feel. It's about the goal. You know what I'm saying? Yes, you have to be respectful. You have to treat people with love and understand. But we're always sometimes tippy-toeing around. Oh, how's she gonna feel if I say? The thing is, we have a goal. We got to get here. Let's not be thinking about ourselves, because a lot of us are quite selfish. Me, and how I feel. But if we have this idea that we're looking at it, the bigger picture for everybody, sometimes they may not get as offended. But you're right. And maybe we need to write anonymous letters to our teachers. And they won't know who wrote it. Anonymous letters. Dear teacher, I observed in the classroom today that maybe you need to reflect on, you could do that. This is just an idea that popped in my head. Hey, they won't know who wrote it. You can't get in trouble. They won't know who to be vexed with. But maybe they'll see themselves differently. Sometimes people can't see themselves. Yeah. So sometimes you have to let them know that, hey, your approach is not inspiring, because teachers are to inspire. And they need to be paid better. I'm going to advocate for the teachers right now, because the money no good. And somebody pick them, they have to teach them no nice. Them not treat the teacher nice, I can tell you I've been to hundreds of these schools. All right. Maria is asking, is COVID-19 the beginning of something revolutionary for student agency, or will things remain the same? Is this a time where students are going to find their voice and take responsibility and an active role in what happens in their education? Somebody talk up, you.
I would say that I don't really see it as a choice for students to remain the same, because if you're not going to be able to have as many face-to-face classes with the teachers, a lot of things can even happen on the online platforms. The internet can go down, and it will actually force you, if you are somebody that wants to achieve a goal, if you're somebody that wants to pass the exams, if you want to achieve something, it will never remain at the same level for you. You will be motivated, you will get this drive to go and actually learn on your own. So I don't think things can remain the same. I don't think there's a choice for it to remain the same with this big shift in the school normal.
Yeah. Go ahead, Denver.
I do agree, Cameron. I do agree with you 100%. And I see the COVID-19 has really shown a lot of the faults in the education system, a lot of them, and even the part with students being involved in decision making. It has really shown up a lot of these things, and I'm confident that there will be change. There will be change, and just know that the National Secondary Students Council is working on the change in reform of the education. We are putting ourselves as a part of the new norm for students. Things will be different. And I'm not saying that this pandemic is a good thing, but in every bad there's good. And I can say that there's going to be positive change in this thing. There's going to be positive change.
Also to add, this with this COVID-19 and everything, it can bring regional integration, because I remember when I was preparing for my CAPE examinations and I was watching teachers from the Caribbean, from different Caribbean countries to learn and to help me with my studies. And so, I help you, you help me. So I don't think student agency will ever remain on the same level now with COVID-19.
That's good. That's good. Good response there. We are half an hour over time, everybody. But me say talk of you, must have talk of you. So if you want to talk, I'm right here. So let's go. This next one. Teachers sometimes see potential in students before themselves discover the wealth of potential within them. How can we empower these students, allowing them to make autonomous decisions without us teachers getting involved? This looks like it's coming from a teacher. We sometimes struggle with letting go and allowing students. Ooh. That's from Audrey.
So I mentioned earlier about building confidence, and students will be empowered if they are confident to go out and to learn on their own. And also, I'm not really a fan of doing homework and, working on my own after I come from a long day of school. But homework really helps you to be disciplined, and it helps you to work on your own and to get knowledge on your own and to do it by yourself. And so students will find the potential while they're doing the homework, because they're doing it by themselves and they're seeing that, oh, I'm actually very good at this, or I can do this on my own. And so they build their potential, and with confidence, it can be possible.
As our first national hero, the right excellent Marcus Messiah Garvey said, if you have no confidence in self, you are twice defeated in the race of life. With confidence, you have won even before you have started. You keep dropping that C word on me, Camryn, with this Camryn Calvert. C looks like your favorite word. And I love what you said about the time capsule that your teacher said. Put your goal in the time. There's so many things that we can do to inspire the nation. I'm going to take the last one now. Oh, you have another question there? I see one in the Q&A from Ray Anna Rodney. What are some ways in which young men can be motivated? Let me just tell you now. You see, when I'm talking about men, me not answer nothing about man, Me like when man answer man. Because man know man best. So I am now going to ask Denver or any other male on this REMIX seminar to respond. Rayanna Rodney asks, what are some ways in which young men can be motivated in participating more in their school activities?
That's a good question, because even I have this was a struggle to get males to be a part. Because I'm at school, I was a part of a lot of clubs and societies, and what I've noticed that is a lot of females in it and a limited amount of males. I think it's the mental setup, or how males are socialized in this culture, that really have caused this. They tend to see positivity as being negative, or anything positive as being feminine. And I was in a sign language club, and I was the only male there. But what I did as being the only male in the sign language club, I reached out, I marketed myself, I ensured that I did what I had to do to the best of my ability. And soon after I started encouraging them, I started seeing potential in, you know, them doing little stuff. I'm saying that, you know, that you really fit into the club. You have to see the potential in them. You have to say that, you know, you can do this, and I constantly motivate them to do it, because when they actually came to the club and stuff. So I was the first member, and leaving the club now, there are over 12 males left in the club, and moving from me being the only or listen to what your friends have to say, because sometimes peer pressure is one of the reasons why where males tend not to be involved, because they keep saying that, oh, your friend going to say, oh, you're this or you're that and stuff like that, and they become demotivated and are taking the initiative of going out there and becoming their own selves, being constricted by what their peers have to say, what others have to say about them. And that is the thing. And Camryn really mentioned confidence. It takes confidence to be your own self, to be your own individual. And that is what males are lacking. They need to be more confident in themselves. And what we can do to motivate this is to keep showing them that they can do it, keep pushing them, keep saying that, yes, you can, brother, you can do it. To stop watch what people have to say about you. You can do it. That's what
I think Denver's freezing there.
I think.
Okay. I know where Denver, because you're cutting out a little bit. Go ahead. That's great suggestion. Yeah. Inspire, show them they can, but we have to keep pushing them.
Pushing them to be the best version of themselves, and believing that they can do it, and never leave them alone, because sometimes males need the drive. We're not emotional. Sometimes males are not emotionally strong. I think they are mentally strong too. So you have to keep pushing them and saying that you can do it, and not leave them on their own, and have sessions monthly with them to really keep them motivated and stuff. Get them to speak up, get them to see what is positive, and let them. I think that will really cause some culture shift and stuff like that, and resensitize society. Sometimes that's a problem. We need to resensitize society in getting this done. That's one of the best one. That's all I have to say.
So we need a society education, right?
Yes.
Kind of education, and we have to remix education, looking at the challenges we face in our society, and ask what other subject matters need to be included. What other ways do we need to take this lesson and apply it to real day and everyday situations, all right? And it's up to you all who are in the classroom. I left there a long time ago, even though I have 2 young ones entering this world. I also need to give them the power to know that their voice is important in the system. Let's activate the change in education together. Again, I'm Emprezz Golding. I'm the chair of Maxfield Park Children's Home, the largest children's home in Jamaica with over 100 children. Usually we dub them as uncontrollable wards of the state. They have a lot of social challenges, learning challenges, physical challenges, spiritual challenges, love challenges. And I would like to take this opportunity, because wherever I am, I use my voice to advocate for what I want. And I want all of you to find one place in society where you commit to helping another child, pushing and inspiring somebody else to be their best. Education does not end in the classroom and in university. It is an everyday thing. It is our duty as Jamaicans from the same history, a terrible history of arriving in Jamaica, but a beautiful history before, for us to reclaim the fallen and lift each other up. What we know should never be for us alone. We must share everything we have with anyone who doesn't know, so that together we can activate the change we want to see and make this country a better place. Because if you look in our prisons and you look in some of our communities, it is a shame that we are where we are because of what had happened to us. But for those of us who know, let us go out there and help one. Each one teach one. Teach good, lead good, find your voice. You have the agency to do that. Never, ever be afraid. Follow your goals and walk with confidence. Join the revolution, and let's make this world a better place for us. And when negativity comes in our way, we say, achoo, I'm allergic to you. Rise and shine every day. You are made for greatness. I love you all. Walk good. And let's head over to another session if we can. Blessings to all your family and all your friends. Have a great school term. If I don't see you, remember as well, I'm the founder and CEO of Talk Up Youth, myself, Talk Up Youth, going 10 years. Every Saturday we are on nationwide 90 FM radio, 11 o'clock to 1 p.m., where our young people produce a show and say what they want to say. Dr. Renee Rattray, our founder, has just logged back in. Again, we close out the session. You missed a lot of goodness, girl. But
I know. Listen, I was just saying, I cannot wait to be able to catch everything.
Amazing people.
I'm going to watch this tonight. Oh my gosh.
Amazing young people, and some of them asked some great questions, but we have to close it off now. Again, teach good, lead good, remix education. Let's activate the change in education together, because we can, and we have the power as a team. Again, thank you all. I'm logging off. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thanks, Camryn, Denver, and everybody else for participating.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
I see you there. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Oh, most welcome. Most welcome.